I remember being a kid, and this is a crazy story. Just a couple of things that I've done in the past was I remember being a kid in middle school. I saw that a lot of my friends liked stickers. And this is a crazy story. They liked stickers, but what they wanted was customizable stickers of their names. That was a thing in middle school. So I thought of a bright idea of how would I make customizable stickers with people's names? So I remember what I did was, I don't even know how I came across it, but I think it was my uncle. He had some vinyl sticker sheets, and I would see him create little decals and stuff because he was into making model cars, and he would make like flames, and he would make a bunch of different designs for his model cars. So I was like, okay, I think I can do that. So I just kind of watched him do it. I observed him for a little bit and see how his process was. Little did he know that I was observing to be able to make my own stickers. So what I did was I asked him, hey, where do you get the stickers? I ended up asking my mom and my dad, hey, can we go to this hobby shop? This hobby shop sold a bunch of spray paint, sticker decals, sticker sheets, and materials for people who were into those kind of hobbies. So we went there. And I'll never forget, I bought my first couple sheets of vinyls, and then I went home and I messed up a lot, guys. You can't even imagine how many times I messed up. I think I ran through most of my sticker sheets just from practicing. I don't remember how long it took me to really get the process down, but I remember going back and getting more vinyls so that way I can actually start making stickers that maybe my friends would want to buy. So lo and behold, I make my sticker and I put it on my binder. If you were in middle school around my age, I'm 34. If you were in middle school around the mid 2000s, or I would say early 2000s, carrying around a binder with a laminate sheet on top, people would print out things from the printer and put it in their binder just to show their style and their character, right? Or the things that they were into. It's a weird thing, I know. But yeah, if you can relate, put in the comments below if it's something that you experienced when you were growing up and going to middle school or even high school. Sorry, I tend to go off on tangents, but back to the story. So I remember going to school. I had this really cool design of my name in a cursive font, and everybody carried binders around that time. One of my friends, he saw my binder and he was like, oh, damn. Yo, Kev, that looks cool, man. Where did you get that? And I was like, oh, I actually made it. He's like, no way, you didn't make it. I was like, yeah, I did. After that, he was like, hey, you think you can make me one? And boom, right then and there, how my idea went from just a thought to something that maybe someone would want, right? So I told him, yes, of course. One of my good friends. So I remember going home, super duper excited to make the sticker of his name and the font that he wanted. Mind you, we were in middle school. We were like maybe 13, 14. I was like, is there anything specific that you want? He said, no, just make whatever. He's like, I trust you. So I ended up making the same cursive font in his name, like the sticker I had on my binder. The next day, I gave it to him. I even stuck it on his binder for him just to show him how to do it, because it was a little tricky, because the way I made the stickers with the vinyl was I would carve it out by hand with an X-Acto blade. Hold on one second. I think I have an X-Acto blade. It was this type of blade. I think it was literally this style blade that I used to carve out all the fine lines and details of a cursive font sticker for my friend. As soon as I was done doing the outline and taking out all the little gaps, what I would do is I would put masking tape over it. And what that would do is that it would stick to the vinyl. And then when I was ready to paste it on to a surface or a binder, what I would do is I would slowly peel off the masking tape. So I would just put it down. I would use some form of card so it can stick, and boom, you got a sticker. So the process was a bit tedious, and you had to be precise because you didn't want to mess up the sticker. And eventually I started to get better at making the stickers so that there were less imperfections and less room for error. And I'll never forget the reaction my friend had on his face. The look on his face when I peeled off the masking tape was priceless. And from then on, it made me feel good. Like I said, I'll never forget the excitement he had. And it was then on that I realized, hey, I think more people will want these stickers. So, one friend got a sticker. They started seeing his binder. They started seeing my binder. And, like all kids, right? All young teens, even adults, you kind of get FOMO, right? You don't want to be missing out. You don't want to be the person not having the thing that everybody is either using or has. And everybody carried binders. So what I did was I started taking orders. It started as, just making some money through stickers. Well, actually started as just making it for my friends, and then I gave it for free, not knowing that leading with value would lead to them wanting to pay me for more stickers. That was really the start of my entrepreneurial journey. And I remember, and I tell this story to people who are close to me that knew me in middle school, around that time, I would walk around with a Ziploc full of dollar bills, $5 bills, $10 bills, sometimes even $20 bills, just all from making stickers. And word got around. More people started asking for stickers. It was even to the point where I started teaching my friends how to make stickers, and they started being able to make money from their network and the people in their classrooms. And I just thought it was such a cool experience to go through that, not even thinking anything of it, and just leaning into my curiosity, leaning into my artistic spirit, and wanting to make something cool. That's a very, very long-winded story. I probably missed a lot of details, but I hope you get an idea of the story that I'm trying to tell, and also the lessons that you can gain from my experience. The beauty of it all is I feel that those early stages of me being curious enough to put my ideas out there has really helped encourage me, even up till now, with this entrepreneurial spirit, and to create things and bring these ideas in my head to life without really knowing if anybody is going to take value from it. And that's really my message to everybody watching this video. Sometimes you just got to give yourself a chance. You got to be curious about what it is you want to do. Try to learn as much as you can in that thing that you want to get better at. And you never know if someone might need it. And all of that is possible through action. Imagine me being that 13, 14-year-old kid, not being courageous enough to make that sticker or ask my parents to go to that hobby store to go get the vinyls in the first place. Imagine if I had never made the sticker, I would have never had that experience. So, the best thing I can tell you is if you have an idea and you're convicted about your idea, you got to give it a chance. Your idea deserves to be out in the world. And you know what? If you put something out in the world and it doesn't get the feedback that you hope for, then oh well. You can always create another idea. You can always make a better version of it. That's the beauty of making mistakes. That's the beauty of starting. That's the beauty of taking action, is just because you make one product, just because you make one video, just because you make one thing, doesn't mean that you can't create new things. Doesn't mean that that's the only opportunity that you have to create something. So yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. I'm going to get back to work, go fire a steak on the cast iron, and just think about that experience. I'm glad I can share it with you guys. Peace.